Hi, Allie here with the Potomac Bead Company. I'm going to go over with you a simple way to make a nice bead look a little bit more extravagant by using wire and what's called the wire herringbone stitch, or the wire herringbone working. Herringbone is a classic seed bead stitch, and this is kind of a variation on it using wire. For this, I have 18 gauge wire as my base, and I have a 20 gauge wire that I'm wrapping around. I've used gold as my base and a silver 20 gauge as my wire that's on the top, just so you can see the difference of the wire and how it's positioned. Also, depending on the size of the bead, you might go down a gauge. I've used 20 so that it's exaggerated and that you can see what I'm doing. I've started just with a loop on the end, and I did one section, and now I'm going to add another bead. I add my bead onto my wire, and I generally will keep my bead close to the end of the wire. I can then push it in position as I'm working on it. I take my piece of silver wire, which is again my 20 gauge, and I'm just going to make one simple loop around my thicker wire. That tail was just something to hold on to. If I'm working with sterling silver, I'll use further at the end. When I'm working with plated, I just cut off that extra little tail. How this is going to go now is alternating from side of bead to side of the bead. So I start on one side of the bead, and I'm going to take my wire and wrap around the thicker gauge. That's my first wrap around the bead. I go to the opposite side of the bead, and I'm wrapping the whole way around one full rotation around that 18 gauge wire. I'm going to take my wire, I straighten it out as I work with it, and I go to the other side of the bead. So it's just going one side to another side. Wrap once around. You can play with the wire after it's done and kind of position it. Wrap to the other. And this continues the whole way, where you're just wrapping again once around the bead. Continues the whole way, and then after I'm done, I can push the bead into position in order to get my stitch.